वंशी विभूषितकरान्नवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरादरुणबिम्बफलाधरोष्ठात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखादरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने. Om. Welcome to the Friday scripture class, and today's scripture is Uddhava Gita. As we all know, Uddhava Gita is a part of Bhagavatam, where Sri Krishna gives his message to Uddhava, a very devoted, pure-hearted, saintly Uddhava, and through him to whole mankind. And in Uddhava Gita, like in the Bhagavad Gita, there are the message of jnana and bhakti, and how one can evolve spiritually. That message is very much given by Sri Krishna to Uddhava. So, very practical instructions are there. Like, for example, we just had it's on the page 89 of the Uddhava Gita, the last message of Sri Krishna, translated by Swami Madhavananda. Page 89, we have studied that it's chapter 6, chapter 6 and verse 17. न कुर्यान्न न वदेन किंचित ध्यायेत साधु असाधु वा आत्मा रामो नयावृत्या विचरेत जड़वत मुनि. He says about the Muni, the one meditative person, the person of realization, how he should behave. Very, it's beyond the worldly person. So, person is quite different. The saint should not do or say or think of anything, should not do or say or think of anything good or evil, should not do anything of good, anything of evil, anything, think of anything of good or evil, and say anything of good or evil. How can one not do good, not think of good? What can be the position that is beyond good and evil? One Sri Krishna says, there the Muni should remain, which is beyond good and evil, beyond the duality. And what is that state? Taking pleasure in the self, in the Atman. So in the Atman, it is beyond good and evil. That's why we think what this is good word, good thought, good speech, pleasant speech. This is for our transaction in the world. So that is beyond transaction. That's how the jnani should be, and he should always be taking joy in the self, in the Atman. So beyond anything in the world, the worldly things do not bother him at all. Do not affect his mind, good or evil. So that is the high standard for the Muni. And how is he? He should wander in this manner. Vicharet, how to wander? Jadavat. Muni should wander in the world. Jadavat. This translation is like an idiot. So that is the thing. So how difficult? Because one who is not concerned with good or evil, one who is not concerned with evil and concerned with only good, he is the person who is saintly person, common person, sadhu. We always say that. But here Sri Krishna said the Muni, the real Jnani, should go beyond even not only evil but beyond even good, and find all joy in the self and see the world with will equanimity. Good or bad doesn't matter for that person, and remains and walks in the world like an idiot. That is the word Jadavat. You must have heard the word name Jadabharata. Jadabharata, you have heard the name Jadabharata. A great realized soul. But he was Jada. Jada what means he doesn't work, he doesn't respond to anything, he has no idea of cleanliness and uncleanliness, nothing. He is like an idiot. That is the word. But that is the highest saint that he was, Jada Bharata. All his relatives, mother died when he was young, and his all other relatives treated him because he is like a fool, like an idiot. They treated him very ill. But for him, nothing was anything for him. They didn't give food. Sometimes they give a little. They didn't respect. Nothing mattered to Jada Bharata. And they say the name of India, the Bharata, comes from Jada Bharata. That is why written in one of the Shastras, either from Jada Bharata, because this Jada Bharata is that great Bharata who died as a when he got attached to a deer and he was born as a deer that get Bharata and then he born as again as a human being, that Bharata reborn and is called that very Bharata who was the Chakravarti king and as a great saint, and this became Bharata in the third life, and as he was his quality was beyond any good or bad, he was called Jada Bharata. He was sitting, well built and youthful, just sitting after food and doing nothing. And there was one king passing by. King was being carried by four of his palanquin holders. And suddenly one palanquin holder got sick. Now he had to travel. Now whom to get, where he will get on the way. Suddenly he found one person sitting quite healthy and he said, they forced him to come and bear the palanquin. One of the four persons, one who was sick, was relieved. And then he was walking without any question. They asked, just put the bar of the palanquin on his shoulder and he started carrying. No question, no asking, nothing, nothing good or bad. But while walking, he was not able to keep the pace with other three persons. Though the palanquin became like disbalanced, it is like getting to fall. Then, then king became very annoyed with this person. Then he said, "Are you a fool or what? You are not able to walk together with the three other persons. You are an idiot-like person." So when he said that, then Jadabharata spoke perhaps first time. He didn't speak after birth because he remembered all how he got hold in attachment or maya by his attachment to a deer. And he had to be born, instead of getting mukti, he had to be born as a deer, and now as a human being. He remembered all his past lives. He was a great king, tapasvi, and now he is born. Then he says to king, "O king, whom are you addressing as idiot? Is it to this body or to Atman?" Atman can never be idiot. It is all knowing. It is the consciousness. If a body is always idiot. Every body is idiot. It is nothing to do. It is dead matter. If you say body is idiot, then your body is also idiot. Then hearing this all wise words from a palanquin bearer, he asked palanquin to be put down and fell at the feet of Jadabharata and had a great learning of tattva or the truth or from this person called Jada Bharata. He was a great saint, but he was Jada. He was like an idiot. That type of wandering wants Sri Krishna to Uddhava, the great saint, Muni, the one who meditative person, realized person, is may walk in the world like an idiot. You may not realize, but because he has no distinction between good and evil, thought, deed, and action. He goes beyond all that. For him, everything in the world is like a drama going on. Nothing matters for that person. One is so kind and praises, another comes and gives you all insulting words. For him, both are equal. Like that sannyasi that Swami Vivekananda met in Himalayas. The children were throwing stones on him, and he was bleeding, and he was laughing. Many children were throwing stones, and he was laughing. They thought he's a madman. Swami Vivekananda could recognize he is a great saint. He went to him, burned some cloth. There was no antiseptic. The burnt ashes became put on the wounds, and found he was a great saint. Just treating everything, insult, ill treatment, torture, or praise and blame equally. When Swami Vivekananda was treating him, his wounds, he was laughing the same way as he was laughing when the kids were pelting stones and teasing him. That was the ideal. Muni says Krishna. Here in the previous verse, it says, "Na stuvita na nindeta kurvata sadhu asadhuva Vadato gunadosabhyam varjita samadring munihi. The saint, with an even eye to all and free from merits or demerits, should not praise or blame anybody who may do or say anything good or evil. He may do evil, he may say evil. He may do good, he may say good. The person say may good to this muni or say evil, do good or do evil. He should not have any, he should be equal to them. He should not praise or blame anyone. Even praise is not there. Doing good, thank you is not there. And who does bad to him, nothing. Oh, rascal, what type of person you are? That is not there. Not in mind, not in speech, not in thought. That type of person. When Totapuri, the Brahmagyani, was having holy fire and he was meditating on that fire. Fire was very dear to Totapuri. And suddenly, one person in Dakshineswar came there when Jatapari was in meditation. Sri Ramakrishna was sitting. He had a desire to smoke. At that time, these matches were not common. They had to find some burning coal, burning charcoal. And that came near that and took of burning charcoal from that holy fire and put on his tobacco cup. That will burn tobacco and he will smoke. Seeing this, Totapuri was enraged. It was unbearable for him. Holy fire, and he is using that without any permission, asking anything. Not he should, if he would sit and sit for meditation, he would be happy. But he came and using for smoking. So he became so annoyed with this person. He took out his big chimta, which is the tongue, which is used to maintain the fire, and he ran after this man. He became angry. Totapuri Brahmagyani became angry to the person who insulted his holy fire. So he deviates from the ideal of Muni, who should be indifferent to those who do good or bad, who act good or bad. And what did Sri Ramakrishna do, who was sitting beside him? Sri Ramakrishna laughed loud. And Totapuri said, "Why are you laughing?" He said, "I was just seeing, just now you told everything is Brahman, world is just a drama going on, there is nothing good or bad. And when something happened, how you reacted just opposite to what you had said. You could not follow what you had said." So for Sri Ramakrishna, everything was drama like this Muni. Anybody doing good or bad for him was nothing. But for Totapuri, he deviated from seeing the holiness of in fire, meditative fire, and this person doing some act of some unholiness. Sri Ramakrishna was like that. Once he had gone to some place, there was another person, another priest of another temple, Kali temple, that Kali Ghat Kali temple. And Sri Ramakrishna was in trance, and that Kalighat temple was very jealous of Sri Ramakrishna. Why? Nothing that Sri Ramakrishna had done any harm to that Kalighat priest. In jealousy, there is no harm being done by others. Jealousy just happens, just seeing others good, without any reason, without any relation to that person. It is such a disease. And what that person did, he started kicking Sri Ramakrishna's holy, pure body, that Devi, the Bhagavati Tanu, with his feet and said, "How could you capture Mathur Babu? What magic have you done that Mathur Babu listens to whatever you say?" He thought that Sri Ramakrishna does some spell by which this rich person, Mathur Babu, always supports him and always finances him, always gives him whatever Sri Ramakrishna needs. What spell you have done? And this was a big insult to Sri Ramakrishna, Mathur Babu's guru-like person. And he had come to Dakshineswar, to Mathur Babu's place, that priest of Kalighat. And but what Sri Ramakrishna did, Sri Ramakrishna tells this story to Hridaya and says him, "I will tell you one thing, but promise me 3 times that you are not going to tell to anyone, not to Mathur Babu especially. Because if Mathur Babu hears something that someone has done something wrong to me, He may do any, give any punishment to that person. He is a jamindar, so many things they do. So you cannot tell that. Took that promise and then said, this person just kicked my body, I was in a trance, but you cannot give him any punishment. All forgiveness, nothing of that person insulting him. So this is the Muni that Sri Krishna says to Uddhava, any good or any bad done, that person is indifferent to that. No reaction to the mind. When that no reaction happens, is really Jada Bharata is Jada? No, Jada Bharata is not idiot. His behavior is like an idiot person, but he is in the state of bliss, always in joy of Atman, that he has caught the source of the bliss and he dwells in the bliss of the self and has no concern. That's why has no concern for this world, how he is or she is treated. And Sri Krishna says that is the quality of Muni. I want to tell you. This is all about the Jnana Yogi. Sri Ramakrishna saw one person and he said, everybody thought he is a madman. He has a mango plant in one hand and he was just going to eat. He asked for food in the line. They all said, go away. He went to the place where all leftover food were thrown plate. He just went there and he started collecting that leftover food and he started eating that. Sri Ramakrishna looked and he could realize, and Swamiji had realized that this person was bleeding by the children's that thing. He also realized and he said, Hriday, this is Purna Jnani. And prayed to Holy Mother, Mother, don't make me Purna Jnani like that. That doesn't make any difference. Like Pishachavat. Hmm? Like Pishacha is one who doesn't make any difference. A Jadavat, like sitting like indifferent. So different kinds of this realized soul dwell in the world. Sri Ramakrishna recognized. And that Hridaya went behind him and said, are you a Purna Jnani? Hridaya asked. He said, shh, yes, I am a Purna Jnani. Then that person was going, Hridaya was going behind, and he said, can you tell me how one becomes Purna Jnani? Can you tell me? He just said, when you treat the water of a drain and water of Ganga equally, then you are a Purna Jnani. Just see this person's knowledge. He knows that water is same in the drain and in the Ganga. In the drain, pollutants have been added, but those are the added thing. Water itself is pure. Water has not been impurified, it's not impure. Just remove the pollutants and water is pure. That's why we clean drains, we clean Ganga, purifying that thing going on, Namo Gange or something. Like that, he said that you could see that purity among the impurity. Impurity is added, when it is removed, it is same pure. That's how even evil person is has got the divinity within. So when that evilness is removed, divinity shines forth. That's why Ratnakar can become Valmiki. If Ratnakar had become really bad person, can never become good. How can Ratnakar become Valmiki? Narada saw this and he tried to remove the dirt of Ratnakar's character through tapasya, that the divinity of Ratnakar shines forth and he becomes a great rishi who writes Ramayana and who changes the life of so many millions for ages to come. Without Ramayana, what would happen without Rama's story? How would we get knowledge today even? And who did this first? It is Ratnakara, the dacoit, the highway dacoit, who without Narada perhaps would have been like that, who could not recognize that by whose grace the evil would not be removed. Like that Anguli Mala, one who was even bad. He used to kill people and cut the finger and make the garland of that finger from people who he killed and cut fingers. That fellow Anguli Mala was that cruel, more cruel than the beast. Now this Muni, we call incarnation of God. That's why greater than Muni, Buddha. How he could see all goodness in this evil of this degree? And he goes to him and transforms his life, makes from Angulimala the dacoit to a monk of his order who becomes sannyasin and tries to realize and attain bodhi. That only Buddha can find that divinity. And when that is removed, Angulimala becomes a bodhi, having the realized person. So that is possible. That's why he says, Sri Krishna says, one should not, that is the Muni who is not affected by praise or blame, by evil or good. So this is the Jnani. These are all called Jnani. So here he says he will not praise or blame anyone doing anything, or he will not be affected by anyone. After saying about this, all about the Jnana that we read in the last time, now Krishna comes about the Bhakti. Now, what he says about the Bhakti, let us read about that. These are all to the question of this thing of Uddhava ji asking. Um, यस्त्वाम न मे पावन संग पावन मंग कर्म स्थिति उद्भव प्राण निरोधमस्य लीलावतारेप्सित जन्म वास्याद बंध्याम गिरम ताम विभ्रिवान्न धीरः. So the wise man, my dear, should not entertain that futile speech in which there is no mention of my sanctifying deeds, comprising the origin, maintenance, and dissolution of this universe, or of my births dear to the world when I incarnate myself at will. What he spoke so far was a jnani, was indifferent to good or bad in the world. Now he says someone who tries to do good to the world, who tries to communicate to the world, how one should talk about the spiritual values. He says one who talks a lot about the spiritual values of Jnana or Upanishad or all those, but if he doesn't talk about my incarnation, who people love, there are people who want the message of Jnana. Also, there are more people who want to know and hear and they enjoy listening to the Leela of God, that they should speak. If they do not speak about me, about God, about Atman, about spiritual values, they are not speaking the right thing. They are only talking futile things. So Sri Krishna says that the wise man, my dear, should not entertain that futile speech in which there is no mention of my sanctifying deeds. My sanctifying deeds as the Atman, or as he says, as when I incarnate myself, avatara thing comes. That also one should communicate with others because people like to hear that. Many enjoy, dear, etc., which people so much like to hear. Ishvara Katha, if you, there are people in India, when they talk about this Bhagavatam, stories of Bhagavatam about God and their Leela, 100,000 people gather. Murari Bapu is one such. And there are many others. 100,000 people, what? They know how to speak and can make the visualization of the stories through their words. Their speaking is so wonderful. How Sri Krishna dwelt in the Vrindavan, how he played with Yashoda, how was his role with the gopis, how he goes to forest with the cowherd boys. All they make such beautiful picture. And evening is coming, and then this Yamuna is flowing, and he crosses. Like though they will make in such a way that they start seeing, visualizing the Krishna going with the cows and calves to the forest with cowherd boys and doing Leela there. They bring out the Krishna in front of the eyes through the words, and that people enjoy. Many people shed tears of joy when they hear about God's stories. So if you don't talk about that, that is futile talking. Where there is no mention of my Leela, that is futile talk, says Sri Krishna. एवं जिज्ञासया पोह्य नानात्व भ्रममात्मनि उपारमेत विरजम मनोमय्यर्प्य सर्वगे. Removing the delusion of manifoldness in the Atman through such discrimination, one should cease from activities holding the purified mind on me, the omnipresent one. He brings his own incarnation and again comes to again jnana as the Atman residing in the heart as Antaryami. What is God who incarnates as the human being? He resides in our heart as the Atman. So all duality, manifoldness should all merge in our Atman where there is oneness of this universe, where is this purity of bliss there. So this what we perceive as oneness is just perception, but in reality it is all one. There is so much joy when we try to catch hold of oneness. When we feel that we are all one, this whole universe, though looks so much variety, is all one. So much joy is there in oneness. So here Sri Krishna says the person should try to merge all this manifoldness into the oneness in the Atman, his own self, that all is his self that has become all this. And that who what is his self? That is Brahman, that is Atman, that is God. That has become everything. So coming out many things, merging into one. So that's how one should try to think and try to merge manifoldness into unity or oneness. यच्च नीशो धारयितुं मनो ब्रह्मणि निश्चलं मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि निरपेक्ष समाचर. If thou art unable to hold the mind steady on the Brahman, then perform all actions without caring for results, giving them up unto me. Jnana Yoga came, then came bhakti. Listen to my stories, tell my stories. Now comes karma yoga. If you are not able to hold yourself to the Brahman, to the idea we all are one, one is the reality, that really appears as many, not able to hold on to this, then work for my sake. Whatever you perform, you work, that should not be for the sake of your boss, for the sake of your family, for the sake of your own enjoyment, but do that for my sake, not to please anyone else other than me. By performing your duty well, think that my Lord will be pleased, Krishna will be pleased, or Shiva will be pleased. That is what is called Karma Yoga. And all that is thought of as doing the duty. When we don't want anything from anyone after performing our duty, and we only look for the pleasure and joy of our Ishta, that becomes Karma Yoga. That becomes offering all the work to our Ishta. That is what is meant by Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Often we say, "All Sri Krishna Arpanamastu," that I offer all the fruits of this work to Sri Krishna. Means I don't care how the people or world feels. I want, O Lord, you to be pleased. Please make me work in such a way that you are pleased. Please take control of my mind so that it remains with you when I work and it does what I should do for you. And when people are happy in the work, then that is like a test. That, oh, when I have cooked well, and my son says, Mom, food was so tasty today. The words came from the son. But I know when my son is pleased, you will be pleased. So my goal is not to please my son, but my son, when he is happy, I feel that you are happy. Goal is to please you. So it becomes karma yoga. If I just feel happy because my son has become happy and forget how it would have been done to you, I have not offered the fruit of my action to you. Finally, goal is to please Krishna. Hari Toshanam, to please Hari, that is the goal of all the work according to Karma Yoga. Not for anything else, not for one's own name and fame or anything, but to please Krishna. Sometimes what happens while working, we fail. Sometimes it happens bad. Not that someone said, son or daughter says, Mom, you forgot to put salt in the vegetable in the curry. Oh, I did so mistake. Don't be sorry for that. And say to God, Lord, I forgot. What is that? I requested, I prayed to you, please control my mind, give me so much attention. Perhaps my mind was diverted to something else. If I had put my mind fully on the duty, on my work, I would have not missed. If I had thought of you only to please you, I would have not mistake. Lord, forgive me for that. So that is the indication that I have failed in my duty. Only that. That's how it is called Karma Yoga. If we are not able to practice Jnana Yoga fully, then practice Karma Yoga. Offer all the fruits of action to me, and caring for results, all actions without caring for result, then perform all actions without caring for results, giving them up unto me. So this is often confusing, without caring for results. But in Gita, if you read Karma Yoga, it said Karma Yoga, Karma Sukausalam. Without Sukausala Karma, there is no Karma Yoga. It has to be done perfectly, skillfully, best way possible. Do any way, I don't care. Sri Krishna said, without don't care what the result is, just do and just finish. That is not the Karma Yoga. It has to be done with full attention, the best way possible. After doing that, don't take the credit to yourself. Oh, it has been done by the grace of God, by the power given by God. So all quality is God. If when people praise, thy will be praised. So it's thy will be done. So that's what Sri Krishna said. श्रद्धालुभे कथा शृण्वन् सुभद्रा लोक पावनी गायन गायन ननुस्मरण कर्म जन्म चाभि नयन मुहु मदर्थे धर्म कामार्थान आचरन मद मद अपाश्रय लभते निश्चलाम भक्तिम मयि उद्धव सनातने. O Uddhava, listening to singing and reflecting on tales about me that are highly conducive to the well being and purity of the world, repeatedly imitating my deeds and lives, having me as their refuge, and pursuing duty, desire, and wealth for my sake, the man of faith attains steadfast devotion for me, the eternal one. Who is that me? Eternal one. Krishna totally clearly says all he is identified with the eternal one, with the Brahman, with Parameswara. He is not individualized deity. He is Ishvara. That Krishna is saying that. So when you do things for my sake, then it will be the best work, and you have to do everything for my sake, and repeatedly thinking of me and imitating my deeds and lives. Always imitating means not that you imitate like Krishna, but here it says the explanation here given is imitating, etc., playing these wonderful dramas. What Krishna did, that Leela we often say, that also makes one feel like Krishna. Or imitating in the sense of trying to imitate the acts of Krishna. There's a beautiful book called Imitation of Christ. How Christ lived, I like to live in that way, like Christ living, Christ thinking, Christ's action. Not the miraculous part they will not be able to do, but the part that Christ says that so much of vilifying him, nothing, all forgiving. That is when you imitate forgiveness to others for those who harm you. That is imitation of Christ. When you pray to God for the welfare of all, even those who are unkind to you, that is imitation of Christ. That here also imitate my deeds, imitate me and my deeds and lives. That you should do. By doing that, you will attain steadfast devotion for me. Devotion to God and knowledge of the Brahman, they are the same thing. There's no much difference in that. So, in the one breath, he is just saying about the jnana, he just switched to karma, then he says about the devotion in the next verse. How stepping from one type of sadhana to another type, because they are not different. They are reached to same goal. Call it Ishvara or call it Brahman. Call it your Antaryami or call it all pervading Brahman. It is the same reality. That how you see difference is only on that. Your approach is different. Satsang labdhaya bhakta भक्त्या मयि माम स उपासिता सवै मे दर्शितम सद्vi ranjasa vindate padam. He worships me, attaining devotion for me through association with sages. He indeed easily realizes my state inculcated by the sages. So, sages means sadhu sangha. When he has the holy company and you study and inculcated by the sages in the Puranas and the Upanishads, when that the holy things are told and he starts inculcating that in his or her own life, then he worships me, attaining devotion me. But that is how the worship of God. When we start inculcating the teachings of the Shastras, that's why Shastras are so important. These Upanishads, Gita, these Puranas, all they are so important in our life to mold our life in a spiritual line. And that is so joyful. When we go into it, there is a great joy. The people find so much joy in just singing God's name, that some people do japam silently, some sing loudly, they call kirtan, harinama kirtan. So that is so much joyful to the people, just repeating God's name, because it takes you closer to the purity of God, and you feel so much joy. That's what Sri Krishna says, satsanga labdhva. So he worships me, attaining devotion for me through association with sages. Sages association, one is you have the holy company. Holy company means any person who is pure minded, who has pure thought, broad minded. Such person is holy person who has gone beyond pettiness, who can think about the good of all. Having association of such person, in person association. Sometimes such person are very difficult to find. Monks or some very wise and really who has become very purified through their spiritual practice. Then what is the association with the sages? By reading the books. You read the Upanishads so nicely, you will have the company of holy, read complete works, you are having the association of Swami Vivekananda. Just reading the works of Swami Vivekananda is having the association with Swami Vivekananda. That is association with the sages. That all is purifying. That purifies our heart. What is the sign of purification of heart? You yourself become start finding like that. Your pettiness goes away. You start seeing goodness in everyone. That happens in our life also. If you see, if we have good japam and meditation one day, after that your mind is totally changed. If someone complains in you in for a household, a husband wife doing japam, suppose wife has a good meditation that day, and then husband, after that husband says, oh, how long you sit, there is lot to do and it is not made, breakfast is getting late. Wife is calm, she doesn't say anything. See, because she had good meditation, she feels everything equally he does. If it is if during meditation she had to struggle and you're not doing, worried, thinking something else, all problems. If I am late, now my husband will shout. If we are thinking that really, if he rises after that, husband just says, you sat for long for a minute. What happened that I said? Now I'll make bread. You keep quiet. You start. You become angry. So even in our lives, how little meditation, swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mato bhayat. So even a little of dharma, little of good meditation, That makes so much change in us when we have company of this holy sages and we have our heart started we start purifying. There is so much change in our attitude, in our behavior, in our thought, in our ability to absorb the adversities of nature, adversities of the world, and trying to treat all with compassion and kindness. That is what the forgiveness is. What is forgiveness but mercy? Something doing wrong to you, and you say, you are so kind and merciful, may that person be not harmed. Like Jesus, you say, Father, please, forgive them, forgive them. Because do not know what they are doing. They do not know that I am your son, and that's why they are following the order of their superiors, kings, and whoever administrators. Please forgive them. They know not what they do. How this compassion comes to those who are putting nail on his hand and feet, giving that pain, and such words of forgiveness comes from the person. That is a sign of purity. There is no way, any way that any curse will come. All there is goodness for everyone who does good or who does even bad. That's what Sri Krishna all said in the Uddhava Gita. Sages are of that kind. They're all kind and good. And that story Swami Brahmananda told that one person was wading in the river. Suddenly he found one scorpion floating and being carried by the river. So he thought it will die in the water, it will drown and die. So he wanted to throw it to the ground, throw it to the bank, and he put on the hand and wanted to splash that water with the scorpion to on the bank just close by. But before he could throw that scorpion to the ground, it bit him. It stung. And scorpion stung is very painful that he could not hold, and that scorpion fell in the water again. Now again that sadhu is not living. He went to the scorpion, wants to again save that scorpion. Second time again it was stung. One person was sitting on the bank seeing this, all this sadhu is doing. And he says, Mahatma Ji, what are you doing? That is an insect. It will sting you. And you are trying to save that thing which is doing so much harm and inflicting pain on you. Just let it go. You cannot save that. Why are you trying to do that again and again? Then Sadhu says, you see, this scorpion, its dharma is to sting. Whenever he finds anything in danger, he's already in death and he doesn't know that I'm saving or killing. Something comes hand, so to protect itself, he stings. That is its dharma. This scorpion, being an insect, this creature, it doesn't give up its dharma. You are asking me, a sadhu, to give up my dharma of saving the thing who are in danger. That is my dharma. That's why I am a sadhu, to protect the people who are in difficult times, to remove their difficulties. I cannot, when this creature is not giving up his dharma, how can a human being like a monk, I can give up my dharma? That is, his dharma is to sting, my dharma is to save. So finally, I, as a human being, will be doing will be able to perform my dharma to save that. And in that run, he could save that scorpion. So that is what sadhus can do, holy men can do. They have so much compassion that even the evildoer can harm that person, but that sadhu will do always good to that person, or whoever, whatever he does. Because the sadhu finds oneness with everyone, that always this variety, differences, all he finds that somehow I am related to that person. Our own Shiva Maharaj was there in Hollywood. He was almost 85, 88 years old. Um, and he had gone to, in Hollywood, he had gone just down to have a walk after dinner. And there were some homeless people. Seeing a man, and homeless people had no money, and they say, "Hey, give us money." So, and this sadhu said, put his hand, "Oh, sorry, I didn't bring any money today. I'm so sorry, I could help you." Then this homeless person was the crazy person. Then he starts beating that, threw it on the ground, he started beating. That is his dharma, no? He doesn't know anything. What is good and what is bad. He wanted some money, and the money was he couldn't get, and his anger is flowing. He doesn't have any compassion. Now, how this sadhu treats that Shiva Maharaj of Hollywood Center, not many years ago, he just passed away recently. Then, then he was bleeding because that hurt very badly. That was crazy. He was not ordinary. He was not regular person. That homeless person. And then when he was walking, and after that that person went. That Shiva Maharaj was walking towards the ashram, still saying to that homeless person, "Dear brother, I'm so sorry. I didn't have any money today. I'm so sorry for that person." And went to the ashram bleeding. What happened? That was the story. Please don't say this story to anyone. I should have carried some money so that I could help them. So that is the nature of a sadhu that says one only who does good, got good to others. So after saying about this jnana, karma, bhakti, all that, then Uddhava asks, साधुस तवोत्तम श्लोक मत विध प्रभो भक्तिस्त्वयुपयुज्येत कीदृशी सद्भिरादृता. Uddhava then asked Sri Krishna, you have talked a lot about the sadhus, sages, and the people, but how do I know who is the best of the sadhus? What type of person we will call a good person, good sage? O thou of surpassing glory. That was his idea of Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna, he knew fully who Sri Krishna is. O thou of surpassing glory, O Lord, what sort of a sage dost thou prefer most? Whom you like most? What type of sage is the best that you like? What type of saint you like best? What type of person is best in your eyes? What kind of devotion approved by sages is most acceptable to thee? So, and many persons have said many things about devotion. I want to listen from you, hear from you. What type of devotion will please you? What type of sage you like, and what type of devotion you like? Oh, Lord of surpassing glory. That's what he said. Sadhus tava uttama sloka. Uttama sloka means of surpassing glory. Sloka means glory. Matta kidrik vidha prabhu bhaktis tvayu payujeta kidrishi sadbi adritaha. Sadbi, how the sages um, have worshipped you among them. What type of worship is important? He still says, एतन्मे पुरुषाध्यक्ष लोकाध्यक्ष जगत प्रभु प्रणतायानुरक्ताय प्रपन्नाय च कथ्यता. Now Sri Krishna is of surpassing glory. Then Uddhava is untiringly, he finds so many adjectives about the Krishna. His glory doesn't finish with just saying by one word of surpassing glory. He says then, Etan me, I want to know Purusha O Lord of the men. Purusha Adhyaksha. Adhyaksha means in charge, Lord. Not happy with only saying the Lord of men and human, Lord of human beings. Then he says, Lokadhyaksha. You are not only Lord of human beings, and you are also Lokadhyaksha. You are Lord of the spheres. All spheres are under your control. You are Lord of the spheres. If still Uddhava is not said, not I have not fully described Krishna. He is not only Lord of the spheres and Lord of creatures or human beings. He is also Jagat Prabhu, Lord of the universe. Now he is little happy that I have now really exactly totally I described his what Sri Krishna is, his Lord of the universe, Jagat Prabhu. Say this to me, for I have prostrated myself to thee. Now, what I have done to thee to ask, I am devoted to thee. So, what he has done to express his devotion? He has done pranataya. I prostrate myself to thee. Pranatanam prasiddhatvam devi vishwarti harini. O Mother Divine, please be gracious to me who have prostrated myself to thee. Oh, who remove all the afflictions of the world. And I am totally surrendered to thee. Please look at me and remove my afflictions, says the devotee of Divine Mother. Here also he says, Pranataya. Pranataya, prostration is a symbol of surrender. That you are great and I I am totally surrender has few elements. One of the elements of surrender is to feel oneself helpless to the one whom you surrender. You know nothing, you can do nothing. You are totally helpless. So, what can be the posture that shows that you are helpless? Just you lie down. Prostrate. You nothing you can help at that time when you're prostrated. You cannot wield your hand, you cannot do any action. So that is a sign of showing that you are totally dependent on the mercy of whom you are prostrating. That's why pranataya. I have totally surrendered myself to you. We are surrender, we are prostrated to you. Anuraktaya. He says another thing about himself. I am not prostrated also to you. Anuraktaya. I am totally attached to you, or um, I am totally devoted to thee, O Lord. Anurakta. Anurakta means who who is so much devoted to that particular being, to God or anyone, who doesn't want to leave that person, who finds everything in his company or her company, all fulfillments of his wishes and desires are done. So it's a sort of attachment to that person. Anurakta. Rakta, this word we call the blood as rakta, comes from the word runs. What root is runs. To stain, to color, to color. So runs. So color what? This blood is our red color. That's why it's called rakta. Rakta often is called red color. But the root is to color, to be colored is runs. That's why raga. Raga comes from the word runs, means you get attached, you get colored in the thing, you get associated with the thing. That's why the raga in Sanskrit is still with one prefix is anuraga, very much attached, very much colored by that thing. And how it is colored? Like a crystal in association with red hibiscus flower. Whole crystal becomes red. Crystal will like have the color of that hibiscus flower. This become rakta. It seems like the hibiscus flower. Like that, we are with whom we are devoted. Anurakta, attached. I am so much attached to you. I cannot live without you. That's why anuraktasya. Anurakta happens. Those whom you have anuraga, you are anurakta to that person with whom you have anuraga. In anuraga, in Sanskrit is raga. In Bengali, raga is totally different. Bengali raga means anger. Anger is raga. But in Sanskrit, it is anuraga. It is love, devotion, attachment. That is anuraga. See, this is another thing. Pranataya, anuraktaya, prapannaya cha katyatam. And have surrendered myself to the prapannaya, totally surrendered. That was the posture of surrender, this prostration. Now I am in his words, he says, prapanna, prapanna parijataya, totra vetrai kapanaye. That who has surrendered totally to that adorer of the parijata. That's what it is said. So, Prapannaya. I have totally surrendered to you, not only in my mind, but in my, not only through my will, but in my mind. That's why I'm Anurakta. And it's also physically, that's why I'm prostrating. I am Pranata to you. So, to me, O Lord, who are so great, now let me know about the devotees who are really whom you love. What should sort of quality I should have that you love me? I become your beloved. I become your true bhakta. What should I gain? Quality should I gain? Then I can call myself as your true bhakta. All they have described, many sages have described about bhakta, and I want to know which of those qualities you want me to develop in me, says, our this thing. Our Uddhava says to Sri Krishna. Tvam Brahma Paramam Vyoma Purusha Prakriti Paraha Avatirno Se Bhagavan Swacho Pata Prithak Papu. O Lord, thou art the supreme Brahman, infinite like the sky, the Purusha who is beyond the Prakriti, Purusha Prakriti Para. Purusa is that entity. Purusa doesn't mean male or female. Often in Hindi or local vernacular, Purusa is male. Is not male. Purusa, Sankhya is Purusa. Purusa is spiritual entity of our being. That is referred as Purusa. In Gita also there is a Purushottama Yogo Nama Panchadashtadhyaya. Like that, Purusha means about the spiritual entity of our being. And Purushottama is the supreme self. Purusha is our own self. And you are that Purusha beyond Prakriti. Prakriti is manifoldness, it is material, Purusha is spiritual, and according to Vedanta, Purusha is one that is in every one as us as our spiritual entity. That is one being which we think is separate. According to Sankhya, Purusas are separate. Each one has individual Atma. According to Vedanta, one Atma that dwells in all, and it is one in all. But every individual by mistake thinks, I have my own Atma, your Atma is Duratma, I am Punnatma. Totally not understanding the Atma of Purusha of Vedanta. Hmm? The Atma cannot be Duratma at all. Here, Atma means a mind, impure mind. One who says another person is Duratma, he generally himself has some things of Duratma. They say when you say something to other pointing one finger, three fingers are pointing to you. You are Duratma. Three times you are Duratma than that person. So it is so true according to Vedanta. In loving others, we love ourselves. In hating others, we hate ourselves. In being jealous to others, we are jealous to ourselves. That is so true. You can find out. You talk a lot of ill about others one day. Oh, that person is so bad. That person. All you cannot sleep at night. You'll be all agitated. You talk good about other person. That person is just so nice, talks so nicely. Always I have found him helping others. Always I find so much good, so much positive ideas that person have. I find so friendly. Some good thing about others you think and talk. You see your own mind and joy in you. You just for experiment you talk only ill about others, only bad thing. Very crazy and greedy, talkative, and very jealous, and always keeping oneself ahead. What just you think and talk about others. You pollute by talking others' mind, and before that, by thinking and talking, you fully pollute yourself. That happens because in denying, decrying others, we decry ourselves. That's so true, Swami Vivekananda says. And that is Vedanta. That's our proof that we all are one. Praising others, we praise ourselves. Loving others, we love ourselves. And hating others, we hate ourselves. That's why love all and hate none. That's said. So this verse is Avatirno se Bhagavan Swechho Pata Prithak Vapu. The Purusha who is beyond the Prakriti, thou art incarnated on earth, assuming a separate body of thy own accord. You have assumed a body separate. It just seems separate. It looks separate. Because you have assumed, because otherwise you are the whole universe. You cannot be separated from the universe. By thy your own sweet will, you appear as if you are separate from the whole creation. Otherwise, you are the creation. Jata Shankara writes about Sri Krishna. Jata eva, Dehavan eva. Sri Krishna, how he appeared, incarnation, as if he is a body, as if he is born. It is as if. All Leela of Avatara is as if. Otherwise, he is one with whole creation, one with our soul, inseparable from our own being. That is the Avatara. That's what Uddhava says to Sri Krishna. You have become separate as it were by your own will. That's what Sri Krishna also says in the Gita. um, Sambhavami yuge yuge. By controlling my own Maya, I bring forth myself. I bring forth myself. I'm not born because of some karma like others. I just bring forth myself by controlling my own Maya. So after this question of Uddhava, we'll have to wait until next class. What Sri Krishna says are the sign of a good person, of a true devotee, what one has to do. There are a list of Sri Krishna goes on enumerating. You have to be compassionate, you have to be kind, you have to be good, you have to feel friendly to all in many verses. He will describe. Let us try to find that. Hearing that, we try to inculcate. Sometimes it goes and helps us to evolve spiritually. So we need to know what are the signs of a true devotee. Then we can compare what stage we are. We all are greatest devotees. Only that we have not ascended to that height, yet to reach that height. And we have all power to become the best of the devotees by knowing what makes the best devotees. We can strive to acquire those qualities in us. Oh, I feel here. I become angry here. I'm not that compassionate to that. So if I have to become good devotee, I have to follow this. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, I want to become, he said, I used to pray to Divine Mother, I want to become Bhaktir Badsha. I want to become the king of the devotees, the highest of the devotees, best among the devotees, that you make me, O Mother. That Sri Ramakrishna used to pray. For whom did he pray? For us. Sri Ramakrishna's whole life, says Swami Saradananda, was not for himself, not for anyone. It was for us. How what he lived and what he spoke, what he acted, all to teach us. That's what the Avatar's role is. Thank you very much. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishnarpanamastu Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhur